Don't forget, before watching this video, you should have logged into MobyMax and completed 15 minutes of MobyMax time completing a language lesson that it had prepared for you for today. If you've already done that, awesome, keep watching, but if you haven't completed MobyMax yet, pause the video, make sure you do that first. So we've heard stories titled Milk, Journey, and Mosquito. And we discussed how they are very short and very strange. There are a lot of weird things that happen in them. But the author actually has a really great technique. So I want to reread the first sentences of each of those three stories. So one of our stories starts as, on a bet, a man climbs inside a cow. The next one starts as, a man makes a little proscenium in a living room. He looks around over his shoulder. Then he climbs through. The last one starts as, a mosquito bites my mother. She swells shockingly and then floats upwards and lodges against the ceiling. So after hearing these first lines again, I want you to think, what do you think the author is trying to do with these first lines? So in class, we're going to discuss these in our table groups, but you can just brainstorm on your own. What is our author trying to do with these first lines? So what you should be thinking is that the author is trying to intrigue or interest the reader by stating something that is so strange or just ridiculous in the first lines that it makes the reader curious and want to read on. So what you're looking at now is a handout that I'm going to pass out to the entire class to keep and use in their writing. These were first lines written by some of my former students. So I want you to look through these and read them. And I want you to pick out which lines intrigue you and think about why they intrigue you. In class, we're going to discuss this in our table groups, but you can just brainstorm on your own. So I want you to open your language arts notebook to your writing ideas section and label the page My Intriguing First Lines, like I did here. I'm doing this in my Drive in my writing ideas folder, and I created a new Google Doc titled My Intriguing First Lines. If you want to do this, you can use Google Drive as well. So I want you to spend the next 5 minutes writing your own intriguing first lines. Just write whatever comes to mind. Once the 5 minutes are up, I want you to reread your work and underline one line that you really like. In class, I'm going to have a chart paper labeled Our Class's Intriguing First Lines, and we're each going to share what we underline, and I am going to add it to our chart paper so that way everyone in the class can use the line if they want. So just like I handed out a paper copy of my former students' first sentences, I am going to type up our intriguing first sentences and then hand that out to you to use. So for the remainder of class, what we're doing is we're adding first lines, intriguing first lines, to our writing ideas section. You can write a story using one of your first intriguing lines. You can work on a piece you started earlier. Or, if you want, you can start a new piece of writing. Remember, you don't need to finish a piece before you start something new. So during class today, I am going to conference with people. And some of the questions I'm going to ask are, where did you get your writing idea? What do you like about writing so far this year? What kinds of things do you want to write or write about in the coming year? And how do you want to improve as a writer this year? So I just put the questions on the screen so that way you can pause the video and reread the questions to prepare for your conference with me if you would like. I'm also going to introduce writing partners today. So this year we'll meet in pairs to confer, which means to share and help each other with writing. So these meetings are going to be called pair conferences, and we'll learn a lot about how to do it this year and how to work with partners and give and receive helpful feedback about your writing. So I want you to confer with your assigned partner for the first time today about the writing that you did in class. One important thing to note is that Conferring is not just reading your writing to each other, but instead it's actually talking about the writing as well. So you need to express interest in the writing and appreciation for each other's writing during your conferences. So during class today, we're going to discuss what you could say and do after your partner reads their writing to show that you're interested in it and actually appreciated hearing it. So some things that you could do, you could ask questions about their writing. You could tell what part you liked in their story, and you can say thank you and that you enjoyed hearing their writing.